So that's great. Look, the new update. That's awesome. The new update stops all the dropout. So make sure you update this thing. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Double. This is Double D Guitar. It's April 20th to many people. I'm wearing my 4 shirt from the old days. This is 20-some years old and it still fits. A few requests for me to capture the preamps from the Boss IR2 so that you guys can use it in the M-Vave Tank-G. Now, if you've been watching the channel lately, you'll know that I've been pretty high on the Tank-G. It's a fantastic little unit. I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that I've done in order to make it even more fantasticer. The Boss IR2 has 11 preamps, and it has a cabinet for each one. And you can turn on or off the cabinet, or you can turn off the preamp and just use the cabinet. It's really versatile. Now, the Tank-G, you can do the same thing, just not quite as many slots. You get 8 IR cabinet spots and you get 9 preamp spots. Okay, so you get 2 more. In the IR2, you get a loop. You get a mono or stereo send and return loop. Really handy, fantastic unit. Sounds really good. The Tank-G doesn't have an effects loop, so I can't insert a different effect in between the preamp and then the delays or the reverbs. It's an in and an out kind of a deal. If you saw my last video, I had captured a whole bunch of drive pedals, and even though you can use drive pedals as a preamp by adding an IR, just by adding the IR cabinet here, and a lot of them sound fantastic that way. I actually used it into the front end of my Marshall over there, and they work great. This alone straight into an amp sounded fantastic, but what I'm going to do today is go back to the direct thing and listen to some of the preamps that I've captured from the IR2. The nice thing about the Tank-G is that unlike the IR2 is I'm not tied to a particular cabinet per that slot. Now, yeah, I can import a cabinet and put it there, but if I want to use one cabinet on all of the preamps, I have to import that then 11 times so that that same cabinet is there. This, with the Tank-G, you can assign which cabinet you want to be using with whichever preamp you want to use. So in that sense, there's a little bit more flexibility being able to kind of hone in the preamp sound with a cabinet that you already have stored in here. I recommend going to Forward Audio or Own Hammer and getting some of their free IRs. They sound a million times better than what's in the Tank-G. And what we have on the screen here is the software for the Tank-G. When I'm connected to it, this is what we see. It's a real simple interface that allows me to bring in my preamps, the different preamp types, and you can see as I switch through, right down here, this circle down here will be telling me which preamp I have. And this has, like 9 banks with 4 each, so you do the math because it's 420. Even though the IR2 has a loop and you can add whatever effects, if you can add delays and choruses and stuff, this has built-in delays, reverbs, 3 types of reverbs, 3 types of delays. Your modulation is going to have chorus, phaser. I'm not a big fan of the phaser, and tremolo. And then you get 3-band EQ, and then volume and gain. A noise gate built in. I mean, this is an all-in-one unit. Even has an XLR out, which we're not going to be using today. I'm going right to a DI, just as easy for me at this point. I'm just going to play a couple of demos. The folder for all of the preamps that I've captured is below in the description. So you want to make sure you turn the Tank-G software off or at least disconnect from it. Bring up the Synco An app, and I want to give you a couple of recommendations just real quick. If you're going to import these Boss files into your Tank-G, I will pop a video up on the left-hand side of the screen here for you to watch if you would like full training from my video on the Synco An importing and capture app. Halfway through, I go through the capture stuff. The other half is how to import. Basically, you hit import. You're going to select which one of the Boss files or any of your preamps that you want to import. And I'm not going to do that at the moment. You're going to want to make sure you're linked. Warning, no device found. You got to turn the Tank-G on. Let it warm up. link the units, and then you would hit import, grab the guy that you have, and then you're going to send it to the amp and save it in a slot. Long story short, that's all covered in the other video. What I want to talk about today are these EQ points in terms of bringing in the Boss IR2 files. I recommend 80 for your low. I recommend 800. You could do 900 on a couple of them. That's a little more mid-rangey for me. And then I recommend instead of 4K, 2200 kilohertz. And then I would come in here and I would open these up a little bit. You can do all this to taste while you're testing the import, but I would open up the max of these, to about 10 dB or so, bring down the minimum a little bit more. Sit here, do that to taste. And then the other thing you want to do is bring the gain. I just bring the gain all the way up. If you think one of these is a little too driven and you want a little control, you want a little less of that gain from that particular preamp, you can scale it back right here before you send it in, and you can test it that way. I'm not doing all that in this video, did all that in the other videos, plenty of other videos about doing that. This is just what I recommend if you're going to import these Boss preamps that I have captured below. I would bring this up. You can even bring this up if you like a lot of beef. Bring this one up to like 16 and bring this down, Depends on the preamp. You're going to want to test it out, and then you're going to want to find your favorite IR captures. Like I said, I recommend Ownhammer and Forward Audio. I'll leave links for them below as well. We're all done. I've imported 9 of them. I can open up my software again and get this going, and you can see down here behind my face, there's where we would open up your IR files. Again, all covered in the other video if you want lessons on that. That's just a quick run through of a few of the preamps that I've thrown in there. I tried to mess around with a couple of the cabinets and a couple of them. I don't want to make this video too long. I've already recorded far too much for it. But this is about letting you guys know that those preamps are in there. And when you import them, you're going to want to mess around with the default EQ settings and just kind of put them into taste. I could already hear a couple of them I had a little too bright, maybe a little too gainy, and I would probably back off the maximum gain on a couple of them, and then maybe on the cleaner ones add just a little bit more gain than what's available. I don't know, but I like the option of being able to now take all of my boss sounds and put them just right in a little unit that is compact, has an XLR out. If I want to run it stereo, I can run it into an effects board with a pedal after it that's stereo. I have an M-Vave, which does a great job at just little stuff like that. And this thing is really cool. I'm really impressed. They've updated it. They've been updating it. Releasing the AN app made a big difference, I think, in kind of the attention that this thing is getting, at least as far as what I'm giving it. So anyway, it's April 20th, 420, and I'm a firm believer in Pluck, Pluck, Give, and I'm going to give you all of those files for free. Download link in the folder, all 11 preamps, none of them recorded with a cabinet, so that you can add your own cabinet choices in there. Owen Hammer, Forward Audio are the ones I recommend. Plenty of free IRs out there. I drop my pick. That's what happens on 420. All right, you guys, I appreciate you being here. You'll take care, all right? I'll see you in the next video. And it probably won't be about the Tank-G, just so you know.